Hi, this is something very new. Docker yesterday updated their Docker desktop, allowing us to easily build our own MCP server and submit it to Docker for approval. We can also do the testing locally. Earlier, I have made a video on how to do the testing unofficially. Now this is official. Hi, welcome to Techie Talks AI. I'm Sri from Schogini. On this channel, we showcase hands-on demos and insights into AI automation and no-code tools. We have created several make.com modules to simplify no-code automation for you. Subscribe and join us on this journey into the future of technology. This is a quick walkthrough of the steps involved. It is little tedious. So there are several steps involved. I will tell you the steps involved. There is no code included in this because this is from their official Docker documentation. Once this is working fine, this is how it is going to look. Your own MCP server will get listed here, and then we can enable it so that it will appear in this list in your Docker desktop. This is a simple addition MCP server which we have been using in our previous examples. Let's see how we can test this. So here I have my Claude desktop. And if you click on the tools, you will see MCP_Docker has got one tool. And this is add two numbers MCP server. That is our MCP server. Let's test it. Can you add 3 and 4? It's asking us for the permission to allow the execution of the MCP server. It has identified the parameters needed, and here is the response. So this is the demo of a working newly installed MCP server within Docker's MCP Toolkit catalog. So we are going to see how this is possible. First thing, you need to update your Docker to the latest version. Okay, you need to have Docker desktop 4.43.1 or higher. I think this was released yesterday. And once you update your Docker desktop, when you come to this MCP Toolkit menu, you have a new button here saying upload your MCP server. This takes us to the document that tells us the steps involved in uploading your own MCP server for approval. So we'll click on it. It opens this contributing.md file. You need Go 1.24 or higher, Go version. So I have Go 1.24.5. So that is the first thing that we need. Next is latest Docker desktop that we saw. It has to be Docker 4.43.1 or higher. Next is you need to install task. That is something like make to install application, build and install applications. So the installation steps are given here. In my case, for Mac, this is what you need to do. This is the command that I've used, brew install go task. Okay, so I have already installed it. That is why it came out quickly. Those are the three things that we need. Let me close this. After that comes the tricky part where you need to have your stdio based MCP server, because that is what you're going to submit to Docker for building and including it in the Docker's MCP Toolkit catalog. So I have the sample demo server.py, which we have been using in all our previous videos on MCP, and make sure that this is using stdio. That is important because Docker runs this using Docker's MCP gateway in the stdio fashion. So this is not using SSE transport. And once you do that, you need to push this to your GitHub repo. So I have already pushed that into my GitHub repo. So here I have the files which contain Docker file, requirements.txt and server.py. It's just a simple addition MCP server using stdio, containerized stdio. Clear? Next is, what we need to do is, we need to visit Docker's MCP registry GitHub repo. Okay, so this is Docker's MCP registry GitHub repo. You should be logged into your GitHub account. and click on this fork button. That will fork this repo within your account, and once that is done, you will find this forked repo within your account. And once that is forked, what you need to do is, on another folder, you need to clone that repo. So here I have the forked repo of Docker's official MCP registry for the MCP toolkit. Currently, this has no connection with the MCP server that we pushed to our GitHub repo. So what we need to do is, we need to include our MCP server into this Docker's MCP registry. For that, we will use the task command. So here, we need to execute task wizard to follow the steps. So here, it will walk you through certain questions where you need to type the repo where your MCP server is present. You will need to type the URL to your MCP server. This is my test MCP server, which I pushed to my repo. And then after that, it will ask you a set of questions. You need to answer them. I have the screenshot of the questions that I have answered. Let me walk you through the screenshots. Starting with the repo installation, we have entered our MCP server repo URL there. Remember, we are in the folder of MCP registry, which we have forked from Docker. After that, we have to give a name and description. Next is select a category for your MCP server, for Docker to know which category it belongs to. Then some more information, the description, and then the avatar URL. If you don't specify an avatar URL, it will take your GitHub avatar URL. Okay, so now here, this is the name of the Docker image that it is going to build for our MCP server. If your MCP server needs secrets or environment variables, this is where you can configure, not the values, but the names. I have given some dummy names. And finally, it says success, your MCP server configuration has been generated. And once that is done, it will come out to command prompt with these instructions. These are the instructions that we need to continue further. Review the generated server.yaml file. Build your server locally with task build -docker-mcp test. Then generate the catalog with task catalog -docker mcp test. Test your server locally with Docker desktop with task import. And once that is done, after you test it, you can click this task reset to put back your previously enabled live Docker MCP toolkit catalog. So those are the steps. Remember, I am in the MCP-registry folder, and I execute task build Docker MCP test. Okay, so image built as MCP Docker MCP test, and if you see Docker images, you will see Docker MCP's test latest. So this I have already created an hour ago. Okay, so that is done. And now we are ready to include this in our Docker MCP toolkit. We need to execute task catalog -docker MCP test. Moment you do that, you will see your MCP server getting listed in this section and also in the catalog section. See, in the catalog section, I only have one because this is in the test mode. Once you reset, you will see all our other catalogs. And here, there will be a plus, and you can click on it so that it gets enabled. Once that is done, your MCP server will be available within your Claude desktop. Remember, you need to install your Claude desktop, latest Claude desktop, and Docker MCP toolkit section to the configuration. Let me show you that section. developer MCP Docker. This should be enabled. That is, MCP gateway run is the command using which Docker executes this stdio based Docker MCP server containers. So if you click on the configuration, you will find that. So this is where we have the MCP Docker installed. This MCP gateway is what is running our MCP servers. Clear? So this is a quick demo of how we can proceed including our MCP server in Docker's MCP server catalog. Once that is done, once the testing is over, you can reset so that Docker Desktop gets all previously enabled MCP Toolkit servers. After that, you can create a pull request to add it to the registry. But remember, before you do that, make sure that your MCP server is useful, meaningful. Clear? So give your valuable comments. See you again in another video. Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe. Your support really helps. Have ideas or suggestions? Drop them in the comments. Let's build together. At Schogini, we offer expert NoCodeMake.com and Python AI automation consulting with ready-to-use modules to jumpstart your projects. Stay tuned and subscribe for more.